All right, let's dive into a question that might feel a little uncomfortable, but trust me, it's an absolutely crucial one. When it comes to investing, is it actually possible to be late to the party even when you're still in your 20s? Now, take a look at this. This statement is a bit of a shocker, right? In India, the average person kicks off their investing journey at age 29. But the real kicker is the second part, that mathematically, you're already a full decade behind in the game of compounding. It just doesn't sound right, does it? I mean, 29 is young, so how on earth could that possibly be considered late? Well, that's the exact question we're going to unpack right now. So, first up, let's talk about why this so-called normal starting age is really just a bit of a mathematical illusion. It feels safe to be average, but in this case, being average can be an incredibly expensive mistake. And this isn't just a guess. The data is pretty clear. A survey related to AMFI, the Association of Mutual Funds in India, confirms it. The average Indian starts investing at 29. That's our baseline, the number we really need to challenge. And let's be totally honest, our first reaction is probably something like, hey, 29? That's not so bad. You're probably settled into your career, you've got some cash to spare. It feels like a really responsible and timely moment to start. But this is where what feels right clashes with financial reality. And that kind of thinking leads us straight into what I like to call the all start later trap. It is the most common and probably the most dangerous reason people give for putting off something they know they should be doing. Now, to be fair, data from the NSE shows a really positive trend. About 40% of investors are under 30, which is fantastic. The culture is definitely shifting. But the fact that the average is still 29 tells you the other side of the story. For every person starting at, say, 22, there's someone else waiting until they're 36. And that's what pulls the average up and hides that really costly delay. And this right here, this gets to the absolute core of the problem. The real tragedy is the excuse people tell themselves. Oh, I'll start investing once I'm earning more money. It sounds so logical, but it's completely backward. It's based on this fundamental misunderstanding of what actually builds wealth. So, if a huge salary isn't the secret weapon, then what is? Well, it's time. Plain and simple. Time is your financial superpower, and it all boils down to the magic of compounding. So, what is this compounding thing everyone talks about? The easiest way to think about it is like a snowball rolling down a really, really big hill. It's not just your original money that grows. The profit you make starts making its own profit. It's money making money on top of money. It starts slow, but over time, that growth becomes an absolute avalanche. This idea is captured so perfectly in books like The Psychology of Money. The key takeaway is that you don't build real wealth by being the smartest person or by having the biggest paycheck. You build it with consistency and by giving your money the maximum amount of time to do its thing. Okay, enough with the theory. Let's see what this looks like with some actual hard numbers. This is what we'll call the CRORE math. The simple math behind building a fortune. We'll illustrate it with a simple tale of two investors. So picture this. We have investor A and investor B. Everything is identical. They both invest the exact same amount, 5,000 rupees a month. They both get the same hypothetical 12% return, and they both plan to stop at age 60. The only difference, the only one, is that investor A starts at 25, while investor B waits a decade and starts at 35. Okay, let's check in on investor B first, our friend who started at 35. By the time they hit 60, they've built a portfolio worth around 1 crore rupees. Now that is a fantastic achievement. 10 million rupees is a lot of money. But just wait. Now for investor A. Remember, same monthly amount, same return. They just started 10 years earlier. By age 60, their final amount isn't just a little bigger. It is nearly 3 crores. That's almost triple the money. So let's just be super clear about this. That 10-year delay didn't just cost investor B a few lakhs. It cost them almost 2 crores. Why? Because that first decade of investing did all the heavy lifting thanks to compounding. That is the insane price of waiting. So the big question is, how do you avoid this trap? How do you make sure you're investor A and not investor B? Well, you don't need to be a genius. You just need a head start. Let's talk about creating your 5-year advantage. The math here is it's undeniable.
Simply shifting your start date from the average of 29 down to, say, 24 or 25 can completely transform your financial future. It is literally the difference between retiring with lakhs and retiring with crores.
And hey, you do not have to take my word for it. The best way to really get this is to see it for yourself. Go find any online SIP calculator. First, punch in the numbers as if you started at the average age of 29. Then run them again, but starting at your current age. The result? Well, it'll speak for itself. So we end on this final thought. Following the average, doing what's normal, means you are potentially giving up a fortune you can never get back because you can't get back time. The numbers are clear. The only question left is, what are you going to do about it?